Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Alrighty. Today I'm going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different than Lord Sri Krishna. So when you're reading Srimad Bhagavatam or listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, you're associating with Sri Krishna himself. Never forget that. The voters adore the so-called leaders only when they promise sense gratification. As soon as the voters are dissatisfied in their own sense gratification, they dethrone the leaders. This is the current government. If we're not happy with our sense gratification, if the leaders aren't providing us with a nice opportunity for sense gratification, we don't like them. The leaders must always disappoint the voters by not satisfying their senses. The same is applicable in all other fields. No one is serious about the problems of life. No one is serious about the problems of life. That's true. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Because if we were really serious about the problems of life, we'd be chanting Hare Krishna more often. We'd be taking our sadhana very seriously. But many people don't even know what sadhana is. They don't even know, what the Srimad Bhagavatam is, what Krishna consciousness is. And if they do know, they might know what it is, but they don't actually practice it. So, even those who are on the path of salvation desire to become one with the absolute truth and desire to commit spiritual suicide for sense gratification. But the Bhagavatam says that one should not live for sense gratification. So he's saying even those spiritualists, quote unquote, are chasing after sense gratification. They desire salvation because they feel like that will bring them happiness, sense gratification. One should satisfy the senses only in so much as required for self-preservation and not for sense gratification. Right? Easier said than done, though. Easier said than done. Because the body is made of senses, which also require a certain amount of satisfaction. There are regulative directions for satisfaction of such senses. But the senses are not meant for unrestricted enjoyment. For example, marriage or the combination of a man with a woman is necessary for progeny, but it is not meant for sense enjoyment. So this is an example. We're supposed to restrict the amount of sense enjoyment. So men and women, the attraction, the whole purpose of it, why men and women, the whole purpose is to get married and have babies. That's what sex life is for. It's not to satisfy our senses and enjoy our, sense gratification. That's not the purpose of sex life. So when we do it like that, this is unregulated sense gratification. But the real religious, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am sex life, which means according to religious principles. Like ideally, of course, this is easier said than done because, sex addiction's a real thing people struggle with. I won't even lie. I struggle with sex addiction, food addiction. I struggle with all these addictions. So, but ideally, we're Krishna conscious. We're Krishna conscious family, and we have Srila Prabhupada is very strict about this. The ideal marriage, the man and women serve Krishna, and they only have sex life to produce a Krishna conscious child. And then when the child is produced, there's no more sex life. But who follows this? Very few people follow this. So the idea is to reduce sex life as much as possible, to reduce eating as much as possible, to reduce all kinds of sense gratification activities to as much as we possibly can. That's the whole point. The whole point. It's not like we try to be something. It's not like we try to, be renunciates from the very start, and then don't, live in a cave. No, we just try to reduce. We try to reduce our sensual life as much as we can, day by day. We try to reduce it and try to increase our spiritual life. That's the idea. In the absence of voluntary restraint, there is propaganda for family planning. But foolish men do not know that family planning is automatically executed as soon as there is search after the absolute truth. Seekers of the absolute truth are never allured by unnecessary engagements in sense gratification, because the serious students seeking the absolute truth are always overwhelmed with the work of researching the truth. In every sphere of life, therefore, the ultimate end must be seeking after the absolute truth, and the sort of engagement will make one happy because he will be less engaged in varieties of sense gratification. And what that absolute truth is explained as follows. So let's find out, what is this absolute truth? Text 11, Varanti tattva vidas tattvam yaj janam advayam brahmeti parameti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Learn transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramama, or Bhagavan. Purport. The absolute truth is both subject and object, and there's no qualitative difference there. Therefore, Brahman, Paramama, and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. The same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Paramama by the Hiranyagarbhas or the yogis, and as Bhagavan by the devotees. In other words, Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead, is the last word of the absolute truth. So this is the absolute truth. It's Bhagavan, Lord Sri Krishna. This is the absolute, the last word. Paramama is the partial representation of the personality of Godhead, and the impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the personality of Godhead. As the sun rays are to the sun god, less intelligent students of either of the above schools sometimes argue in favor of their own respective realization, but those who are perfect seers of the absolute truth know well that the above three features are of the one absolute truth, that the above three features of the one absolute truth are different perspective views seen from different angles of vision. As it is explained in the first sloka of the first chapter of Bhagavatam, the supreme truth is self-sufficient, cognizant, free from the illusion of relativity. In the relative world, the knower is different from the known, but in the absolute truth, both the knower and the known are one and the same. In the relative world, the knower is the living spirit or superior energy, whereas the known is inert matter or inferior energy. Therefore, there is duality of inferior and superior energy, whereas in the absolute realm, both the knower and the known are of the same superior energy. There are three kinds of energies in the supreme energetic. There is no difference between the energy and the energetic, but there is a difference of quality of energies. The absolute realm and the living entities are of the same superior energy, but the material world is inferior energy. The living being in contact with the inferior energy is an illusion, thinking he belongs to the inferior energy. Therefore, there is a sense of relativity in the material world. In the absolute, there is no such sense of difference between the knower and the known, and therefore everything there is absolute. Text 12, Tach Trada Dana Munayo Yana Vairagya Yuktaya Pashyant Atmani Chatmana Bhaktya Shuryat Grihitaya. Hare Krishna, to be continued. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.